Hi, I'm Alan, and this is Win the Day Project. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. It's one of my favorite quotes by Albert Einstein. I'm shooting this video in the back of the gym that my wife and I own together. We are self-employed entrepreneurs, and owning this space, quitting our jobs and staying focused on this business has been a highlight of our life together. To be honest with you, 10 years ago, this was a dream that I had that I never thought I would accomplish. I was the typical cliche divorced guy. I was broke. I was overweight. I was eating and drinking my sorrows away 4 nights, 5 nights out of the week with a bunch of other divorced guys at the local bar, complaining about our exes. I didn't have enough money for a car. I didn't even have enough money for first and last month's rent. I was renting a room. So things were pretty dire. What was frustrating for me, really, was that I was smart. At least I thought I was, right? Like, I had a good job. I was making pretty good money. I just had no idea how to manage money or how to manage my health. I would set the yearly goals, smart goals for my health and my wealth. And despite my best efforts, I couldn't achieve them. I found myself at my rock bottom in this place, and I struggled with how I got there. So I did what any self-respecting, ambitious professional would do. I jumped into books and reading and asking about smart people about their favorite book and what book should I read. And so I really got involved and engaged with self-help books and self-improvement. And I started reading Marcus Aurelius and Jim Rohn and Dave Ramsey's and a bunch of other recommendations on how to improve my situation in life. And despite all that reading and application, what I discovered was that books written thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago, in the 80s, were really good at providing me foundational ideas, but not helping me solve my problem in the moment. What that led me to question was, well, how do I do that? Well, I studied systems at work, and I worked on improving systems in my day-to-day job, and I saw the benefits that provided to the business and the executives and the managers who did that same thing. So I decided to take systems engineering, process improvement, and started applying it to my own personal life. And wouldn't you know it, I started achieving my goals. I started gaining traction. I started moving in the direction that I wanted. Changed my life, and it ultimately resulted in me sitting in the back of a gym that I own shooting a YouTube video with you all. So we're gonna talk about this hidden roadblock that I didn't know existed, that impacted my life, and it may be impacting yours. I hope you get some value out of this. So we're gonna go to the whiteboard, talk about a couple of concepts that I learned that I hope to pass on to you to save yourself 10 years of heartache, struggle, and maybe you're rock bottom, or maybe you don't hit it. So let's go to the whiteboard. All right, now we're at the whiteboard, and we're going to talk about systems thinking. I am not going to be one of those YouTubers who are saving all the good stuff till the end. So the roadblock that I ran into was that I was a linear thinker. It was the cause of my problems. It was the cause of my rock bottom. And the reason I got out of that was because I became a systems thinker. And it took me a long time to be able to say that statement. But it's the reality of where I was then and the reality of where I am today. So we're going to go over what systems thinking is. So we'll start with a quick review of the iceberg model, which is a common, popular method for system thinkers to explain it. This will not be a lengthy conversation on the iceberg model. This is only a portion of it, but it's the three parts that I want you all to walk away with, understanding that, the differences between the three pieces. Then we'll talk about the differences between systems thinking and linear thinking. I don't want you to believe that there's no place in our lives for linear thinking, but I think system thinking is a better way to solve our problems. So if you are struggling to achieve your goals, Systems thinking will help you solve your problems. Linear thinking has its place, and we'll talk about when those are. And then we'll talk about health, wealth, and happiness, how we define that here at Win the Day Project, how my wife and I think about it, and how we think about it with our students. And we'll wrap up from there. So let's start with the iceberg model. Pretty simple concept. This is our iceberg. Thank you to my wife for this beautiful artwork. And her penmanship is significantly better than mine, as you'll see towards the end of this. Above the water line is typically the things that we see every day, events, right? So whenever we log on to ESPN and read an article, or we're on our favorite news channel and we're watching the news, we are presented with events, whether it be a football quarterback just signed a $100 million contract, or a ship got stuck in the Suez Canal, and now shipping delays are going to be felt by customers. Prices may go up as a result, and we are introduced to cause and effect relationship, which is associated with events. So a thing happened, it happens in isolation, almost with no context, is how events are typically presented to us. Patterns. Patterns are events that happen over and over again over time. Stock market's a great example of patterns. People study patterns in the stock market, and they're presented as such. The Dow Jones is trending down, up, pattern. Systems. Systems are patterns that repeat themselves. Systems are a series of events that, a series of actions that have a purpose or a function. Systems thinkers typically refer to a system that has a purpose as systems that deal with people. Systems that have a function typically deal with things that aren't people, but that can be interchanged. So events, patterns, systems. Events are associated with linear thinking, right? So the difference between linear thinking and systems thinking. Linear thinking is what we are taught in school. It's what we are accustomed to seeing every day. It's what we're used to talking about with our friends. It is a simple X leads to Y. It manifests itself in a ton of different ways. If you say things or hear things or believe things like, if I lift weights, I will get bigger, right? It's a simple, if I do this thing, then this result will happen. Well, most people who understand, if you go into the gym and lift weights, it takes more than just the lifting of the weights. There's the sets and the food and all the complexities that go along with it that add to that weight gain or size gain. That is thinking in systems, right? So linear thinking, I just lift the weights, I'll get bigger. Systems thinking thinks about the holistic approach, all the things that are required, the food, the sleep, the nutritional aspects, the supplements required to make someone gain muscle. Linear thinking also ignores complexity. It makes things really basic and simplistic. If I want to build wealth, I just need to make more money, which doesn't take into account all of the factors that require us to build wealth. It's not just about making money. It's not the money you make. It's the money you keep. It's the money you invest. It's the money. It's your beliefs about money. So linear thinking ignores complexity. System thinking tries to consider all the factors. Well, as many factors that are practical, right? Not all, and that's why it's in quotes. But the most impactful factors. Linear thinking ignores interconnectedness. It lacks context. It suggests that we are individuals or events are working independently of other things, while systems thinking tries to understand interactions and how those interactions impact the outcomes that we're trying to achieve. And a lot of this will get a lot clearer when we walk through an example. But again, when I was setting those goals back when I was at rock bottom, when I was setting those health goals and setting those wealth goals, I would treat them as events. I would think to myself, well, in order to be wealthy, I got to make more money. not understanding that it's not the making of the money that's key. It's the saving of the money, and then what do I do with that money that's left over? How do I build wealth with the money I don't spend, that I earn, right? So I hope that makes sense. So real quick, here at Win Today, we try to keep things nice and broad. So, and on purpose, because we don't want to get mired down in the weeds of how we define these things. We define health at the highest level, the ability to do what you want for as long as you want. Quality of life for as long as you can live that life. That's health to us. Wealth is our ability to pay for that lifestyle, that life that you've created, because you've built the body, you've built the health, you've built the systems to make you to help you live as long as you can with the highest quality of life that you can live with. Well, you got to be able to pay for it. In the system that we live in the United States, it takes money to live, and wealth, you define it. However you want to live that lifestyle, you got to pay for it. And wealthy is the ability to pay for that life. And in our opinion, happiness, the ability to do what you want, how you want, when you want, and with who you want. I think the single biggest study on happiness showed that relationships was the key to happiness. So finding people in your circle, finding the relationships in your circle to chase these other things is what we consider happiness over here at Win the Day Project. All right, so let's just go through a quick example. So again, back when I was at rock bottom, I would treat my health and my wealth and even my happiness as an event. So let's give an example. An event might be my tax refund. Tax refund. I told you my wife's penmanship way better than mine. So every year I would get a tax refund, and that thing would be out my hand and spent before it collected dust in my checking account. I knew it was coming. I was thinking about ways to spend it, and it was gone. On the health side, I would set a New Year's resolution to lose weight. November, December would be tough. I would be eating out, partying, drinking, eating. And so New Year's resolution, I need to lose weight. New Year's, lose weight. I might find a new gym. I might start a new diet. I tried a bunch of them, paleo, pescatarian. How do you say that? But yeah, I tried quite a few diets, right? All tied around, hey, I need to lose weight because it's New Year, an event. But this, like I said, led to me not being able to achieve my goals. Patterns, events that happen over time. Well, when we start thinking about tax refund, well, we know the tax refund comes every year. So maybe we're thinking about it at a different level. Now, maybe we're thinking about it in terms of, hey, there's a tax refund that's coming. What am I going to do with it this year? That's a higher level than events. And I started moving in this direction, right? I knew my tax refund was coming. What do I do with it? What's the plan for it? Pay off a bill, pay off a car note, that type of thing. New Year's, lose weight. I knew I would fall off after a month or two after the New Year's. So, push pause. And for patterns to lose weight, New Year's, it happens every year. I could bank on it. Every year, I had the same 10 pounds to lose. There's no wonder I wasn't making progress towards my goals, right? Because I had a pattern of starting the year with all the energy and motivation and discipline, working, getting sidetracked, losing my focus. November, December, I'm holidaying, I'm vacationing, I'm meeting with family and friends, I'm putting all the weight back on, only to have to go ahead and lose it again next year. Pattern. Every year, lose weight. Now, what changed my life? was making this transition from linear thinking to systems thinking. What changed my life was spending less time using linear thinking and more time using systems thinking. There is a time and place for linear thinking. When you have less time to react, when you have an immediate action that needs to be taken, if there's a fire and you need to put it out, you need to be thinking linearly all day long. How do I put out this fire? How do I take care of this emergency? How do I change this flat tire on my car? How do I get this bill paid before they turn the lights off? Linear thinking. Firefighting is the way I like to call it. System thinking takes more time, and so you need time and space to do it, to think about why things are happening, to ask questions of yourself, why are things happening? Despite our best efforts, I cannot achieve this thing. Why? Why is that happening? And using a bunch of tools in order to get to the root causes on why that might be happening. So you need more time. And when you have a flat tire on the side of the road, it's probably not the time to sit down and have a systems thinking conversation or problem solving methodology. You just need to change the tire or get off the road or whatever the reaction is going to be. But when you have more time, you can take that time. You need more time. System thinking is the way to go. So as I transition from linear thinking to system thinking, I also transition from firefighting all the time to thinking, being more thoughtful about how I attacked different problems in my life. So back to systems on our example. From a wealth standpoint, maybe instead of treating a tax refund like an event, it comes in and goes out. And maybe instead of treating a tax refund, it comes every year, I can plan on it, I'm going to spend it on something. Maybe we develop a wealth management system where we say we want to reduce our taxable income. Reduce our taxable income. Maybe by increasing the money we're putting into our 401ks. That may reduce our tax refund that we actually get, but that money is building for us, working for us in an investment that we don't really have to think about, and it's part of a larger wealth management system. And from a health standpoint, I consistently am working on maintaining a weight throughout the year. Maintaining a weight, healthy weight throughout the year. So that the fact that the new year comes around and the fact that November, December comes around don't negatively impact my health system, because I have a system where I maintain a healthy weight all year long. And I'm working on other things. I'm doing that in some established way. This is it. This is how I went from rock bottom, where I couldn't afford first and last month's rent, not having a car, all those things, to shooting a YouTube video, self-employed, in the back of the gym that my wife and I own. That transition, that transformation was the result of moving from linear thinking to systems thinking for my health, wealth, and happiness goals. All right, so thank you for sticking with me through all that. I hope you got some value out of that. Quick thought experiment before you leave, and thanks for staying for the end. When's the last time you used systems thinking? If ever, was there a problem you were trying to solve and you used systems thinking? Or are you primarily linear thinking, X to Y, cause and effect? Let me know if you're a linear thinker or a systems thinker. There is no wrong answer, but if you spend more time doing linear thinking, cause and effect, maybe an opportunity for you to learn some systems thinking techniques. If you're interested in learning more about systems thinking, there's an ebook, a link to our ebook that explains a little bit more detail how my wife and I use systems thinking to get in the best health of our life, build enough wealth for us to buy a business, walk away from our 9-to-5 jobs, live this life that we're currently living, and quite honestly be happier than we've ever been. And I'll get her to co-sign on that somehow. But so there's a link for the ebook if you want to read more about that. That helps you. You also sign up for our newsletter when you get that ebook. And of course, I'm learning about this YouTube algorithm. So if you like and subscribe to this video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, we'd appreciate it very much. And good luck.